Hi guys, this is Stefan, poker coach and founder of BecomeAnOnlinePokerPro.com. Welcome back to episode 10 of my bankroll building experiment. Now if you don't know, this is the YouTube series where I abandon the games I usually play at No Limit 100 and No Limit 200 to show you exactly what it takes to build a bankroll from scratch in 2013. So with that intro out the way, I'm just going to start this video off by showing you some results from since the latest video. And as you can see, we've played roughly 10,000 hands and we're up 150, which is very good. You can see that we've been running quite well. We are, according to our all-in EV, we should be down like 40 bucks, but instead we're up 150. So that's always nice, especially considering that we were running way below EV for in the last couple of 15,000 hands. So this definitely evens it out a bit, and that's nice. And on top of this, we've managed to clear 40 bucks of the Party Poker sign-up bonus. So overall, the bankroll is now currently sitting at 807 bucks, I believe. So we're like 8 buy-ins away from being able to take shots at No Limit 50, which is pretty exciting. So let's just hope that we have a good session today and that some interesting spots come up that you can learn from. And yeah, let me find the tables, guys. I did try to find some before I started the recording, because sometimes it's not easy to just sit in 4 games like it was at No Limit 4 or No Limit 10. It seems that you either have to start tables on your own or be very quick to grab them whenever there's a seat open. So I did just that. And as you can see here in the lobby, the bankroll is like 808 bucks. So yeah, we're pretty close to taking shots at No Limit 50, which is pretty exciting, since that was actually the original goal for this bankroll building experiment. I don't know if I'm going to take it further yet, but it's only been like, I don't know, a bit more than a month since we started. So that just goes to show how quickly you can actually rise up through the limits if you put your mind to it and play a lot. So we did manage to get in the action on table 4. And by the way, top left table 1, top right table 2, bottom left table 3, and bottom right table 4. Just figured I'd kill some time by giving you that info. And now we're playing on table 1 and 2 as well. King 4 off, it's a definite fold. This guy seems to be folding a lot 3-bets, but I'd much rather have like an ace-x, like ace-5 offsuit to 3-bet him with if I was going to 3-bet bluff him. And 6-3, because this guy's folding in the small blind 80% of the time, I'm just going to min-raise it and expect that to take it down often enough for this to be a plus EV play. And when he does decide to 3-bet, I'm just going to fold it. Managed to miss the blinds on table 3. That's unfortunate. Doesn't matter too much though. Looks like we have a short stacker going all in on table 3. That's not like a dangerous kind of short stack, that just looks like a fishy short stack. And the reasoning behind me calling him a fishy short stack is just 10 bucks is usually too much if you want to play the short stack strategy of just shoving or folding pre-flop. It's just too many big blinds to be able to do that with a great range. King 6 suited is a fold. 3-8 off is a fold. Yes, we're going to wait for the big blind again. Queen 6 suited is a fold. If we were on the button, I'd definitely consider raising this just because the big blind seems to be folding a lot. And this stacking you guys seems like a fish, so I would probably min raise it just because he has such a short stack. This stacking you guy, and I think Samsung is going to be folding the same range that he usually would. With the queens here, I'm just going to call. I haven't really been doing anything at this table yet, and I don't really think he would be willing to get all in with jacks ever when we 3-bet him against this under the gun open. So I'd much rather slow play in this situation and have him barrel a lot of flops and turns and have us call down, because most of the time when we're calling here in the blinds we have a small pair which means that on a lot of board textures he can bet the flop and then the turn and have us fold out. But obviously when we do have our queens, that's not going to happen. Now the 3 here is not really a good card for him to bluff or to barrel again. So I wouldn't really expect him to be bluffing a lot when he's betting that turn. And yeah, that's just bad of him not to bet the river there. Not much else to say really. He should be giving us a chance to find a hero call there with 10s, jacks, or even queens like I had. I kinda wanna 3-bet this hand, but I'm just going to fold it for now on table 4. But that's another overall tendency that I've noticed a lot. Also on no limit 4 and no limit 10, but I felt like there were bigger mistakes made on those levels. But at no limit 25, people seem to be way too passive on the river, both with their value hands and with their bluffs. Like the 10-8 here, same thing again. He's folding so much in a small blind, we're just going to min raise it and expect it to make a profit. And on table 3, whenever somebody's limping in a small blind when it's folded around, I pretty much raise up any 2 cards and expect him to either fold enough pre-flop or on the flop to make it plus EV. And we did get a fold on table 4, so that's good. And this 8-3, if it was folded around to me, I'd actually consider opening it just because these 2 blinds are playing so tightly. But easy fold now with a raise and re-raise in front. Queen 9 suited against the limp on the button. He did limp fold the small blind before, so that makes him more prone to, limp folding. So that makes this Queen 9 suited an easier raise. And this is a decent spot to see, but he does go ahead and call. Now I don't really think that he's going to be folding too much if we bet again here. We do have decent equity though, but I don't really know. I think he's going to check behind as well so we can get free cards. And here with the jacks, this is a pretty easy call against this fish under the gun going all in. Yeah, and this min bet is basically a check. So we get to see a free river card, and we do hit. And now, since he seems so passive and he seems to bet so small, I don't really want to rely on him getting money in the pot. So I think there's a decent chance now that he does have, like, if he does have some kind of pair, like a 10 or 2 pair, I think if he has a missed flush draw, considering his turn bet size, I don't really think I'm going to get a lot of money off of his bluffs anyway. So instead what I'm going to do is just focus on the value hands in his range and try to get paid there. so I think a big bet there is probably going to be good. Also because the flush draw kind of missed, so if he does have like an ace-8, he might be very suspicious of us in that case. The 8-6 might be a bit loose, but I'm just going to pound a bit on this guy. We did raise up the ace-jack on table 1. We got a huge 3-bet in the head by a guy who's in the head. Thrown our way, I guess, by a guy who's not really 3-betting a lot. So in that case we can just go ahead and fold. I've tried to min-raise a few more buttons, or actually a lot of buttons, lately, just because I feel like there's so often there's going to be fish in the blinds or very tight regulars in the blinds, and if I do min-raise instead of doing the regular 3xing, then I can get away with opening a wider range on the button. And I think when I do have a wider range, it makes more sense for me to make my steals smaller, since they have roughly the same effect when I'm stealing, and I lose a bit less when I'm bluffing. Here with the jacks on table 2, definite 3-bet pre-flop, and this is a pretty good flop for us. So we're going to fire c-bet. I'm not looking to fold on this flop. I did 3-bet this guy once before when we got set down on the tables, and we have like an overpair and a re-raised pot, so I'm not going to be folding here. If he has a stronger hand, that's just too bad. And he did have the 10s, so we were good on the flop, even though we did hit the jack. But yeah, back to the sizing on the button. I think if you are a newer player, if you're following the pre-flop hand selection chart that I have in my free course, which you can find a link to down below in the description, then I think it probably makes more sense to be raising 3x on the button, because you're going to be having a tighter opening range. And when you have a tighter opening range, you're going to be having the stronger hand, most likely. I'm just going to call against this guy. And when you have a stronger hand on average, you want the pots to be bigger on average. And now the reason that I want to make it smaller is simply because I have a weaker hand on average, so it makes more sense for me to make it smaller. And I hope that makes sense, guys. Here with the ace queen, I don't expect him to have a hand here a lot of the time. He is playing very tightly, so I expect him to have a lot of Broadway type hands that are missing this board. Just because there are way more combinations of Broadways than there are of pairs. So I expect that to be a larger part of his range. I kind of missed the raise over here with the 10 deuce. Doesn't really matter too much. But when he does his turn again on the 7, I don't think he has a lot of Broadways anymore. I think it's mostly pairs. I could go ahead and raise it up there and try to take it down, but I'm not really going to. I have been 3-betting twice on this table already. Once before the session started and once right now. So I don't really think I'm going to be getting a ton of respect. So folding the turn there seems like a fine play. The thing about calling with the ace queen there as well is, if an ace or queen comes on the turn, he's probably going to be betting it almost 100% of the time, which means we get additional value from the ace queen. And when he does have missed Broadways, which I think he has a lot there, and he doesn't hit anything on the turn, I think he's going to be check folding a lot on the turn. So that's the reasoning for my call on the flop. Ace queen is a very strong hand, so you shouldn't always be looking to auto fold it when you don't hit, especially not when you're in position on low boards. You'll find often that people are check folding turns, and that when you do hit the turn, people are either bluffing or they have weaker aces or queens. So Now this doesn't mean that you have to go crazy and never ever fold a flop, but you should definitely think twice before you fold a hand as strong as ace queen on a low board in position against a single opponent. But then again, it depends on how experienced you are. If you're just starting out, figuring out with which hands to play pre-flop, figuring out your flop c-betting strategy, then folding ace queen there to the flop c-bet is definitely fine. It's never a huge mistake to just fold there. But it's definitely something that you can play around with once you get a bit more experienced. Like here with the 995 on table 4, we have a backdoor flush draw, and we bet pot here on the flop. I think he's calling with a ton of ace high on this board. So whenever I'm trying to steal in these paired situations on the flop, I always bet pot on the flop and then go a bit smaller on the turn. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm bloating the pot on the flop. I'm trying to put a bigger pot to steal it on the turn, because most of the time people will call with, especially fishy type players, will call with any two cards on a paired flop just because they're figuring, well, you can't really have anything. Opening the 8-3 because he's slim folding a lot. And on this board I don't really know if we should c-bet or not. I'm just going to fire half pot. Where was I? Oh, the paired flops. Yeah, so people are calling the flop with basically any two cards. So whenever you're bluffing a paired flop in the limp pot, you should never fire only once. You should always be looking to fire at least 2 times. So what I like to do when I'm bluffing is just to fire pot on the flop to build a bigger pot that I can then take down on the turn, and then on the turn I'll just go ahead and fire like 3/4 pot, because if he doesn't have a pair or flush draw on that spot, he's going to fold his ace high to the 3/4 pot bet anyway. So there's no reason to make it any bigger. So we're just giving ourselves a better price on our bluff. I hope that situation made sense, and if not, please leave a comment down below, then I'll be happy to explain further. Ace 9 definitely raise on table 4. I'm pretty tempted to raise it up, but I don't think the big blind is folding quite enough with the 4-2 off on table 3. These tables are not really looking amazing by any means. I guess I do have a fishy type player on table 4 and this boa juice guy playing 35-12. And this Thumdale on table 2 looks like he's probably pretty loose. He just limped under the gun. And then on table 3 we got this Robo guy. He looks like a proper fish playing like 69 or 71-0. Limp folding a lot. Just generally playing bad. But I've definitely seen better tables. Overall I'd say there's a larger jump between no limit 10 and no limit 25 than there's between no limit 4 and no limit 10. Which is also the reasoning that I haven't really been creating this is how you crush no limit 10 video, because I just think that a lot of the concepts apply that I used in the how to crush no limit 4 video. So I feel like I would be going over the same things again, but I don't know, I might create it anyway if I think of something that is worth sharing with you guys. Just going to keep firing these half pot c-bets since he did fold to them last time. Now there's a ton of draws on this board, so if everything misses, like here, you know, just getting such great pot odds. And there's a lot of stuff that missed, so it doesn't matter. We only have to be good. Like I don't really know. We have to be good. We don't have to be good a lot of the time to make a correct call there when he's min betting into a $4 pot. And here with the Queen 9 suited, this guy is stealing like 22%. That's not too crazy. I'm gonna call him anyway. A lot of the times you'll find people who are racing like crazy from the small blind when it's folded around to them, and what you can actually do is call pretty wide from the button, or from the big blind, sorry. Just because they're going to have such wide ranges that you can basically, you can float the flops, you can bluff raise the flops, you can do a lot of things because you have position, and they have a very weak range. See here, he just checked, and whenever somebody's checking a flop like this, I expect them to be giving up like 100% of the time. I'd be very surprised if he decided to check raise there. Just because if he does have a strong hand in that situation, he would want to protect from the 4 straight or the flush card, or he'd want to get money in the pot as quickly as possible. However, when people are checking, as the pre-flop raiser, when people are checking flops like King 7 Deuce Rainbow, like boards that are really good to c-bet bluff on, I'd be way more likely to assume that they have some kind of hand, just because if they didn't have any hand at all, it wouldn't make sense for them to not bluff a flop that is great for bluffing. But yeah, in that situation, whenever he checks the 4, 5, 6 two-tone board, he's folding like 99% of the time. So we're just going to go ahead and steal it. I think this King Queen hand might be the last one I'm going to do. I can see we've been running 22 minutes. I don't really want to make these videos too long. I don't know if I want to call a 3-bet. I want to 3-bet this hand. I don't want to make these videos too long. I know from myself that whenever I'm watching poker videos that are like an hour, I lose focus. So I think around 20 minutes seems fine for a video. And now the reasoning behind 3-betting here is like I don't really feel too comfortable calling. I think I'm going to be making more money by just re-raising pre-flop and having him call and check fold the flop, or having him just straight up fold the flop, just because he doesn't have a lot of weaker kings in his range. So it's not like I'm going to be flopping the best king a lot. I guess I can take it down and play post flop with him. I think it's a close spot, but I haven't 3-bet at all at this table yet, and he's folding a lot of 3-bets. And King Queen are blocking hands like Ace King, Ace Queen, Kings and Queens, which he can 4-bet. So I think that's going to be a very profitable play. But that's it for this video, guys. If you found this useful, if you liked it, please like it down below. This really helps out a lot, and it lets me know that you enjoy the videos. And please subscribe so that you get all of my new videos. And that's it, guys. Until next time, bye.